Isaiah Holes here to help us get set for Michigan August camp. You can track Isaiah's work there at Wolverines Wire and also his podcast, Locked On Wolverines. You see the designations right there on the banner. Always enjoy the conversation with Isaiah. Well, what's been enjoyable for Michigan skilled players that we've run down is, of course, the offensive line and the work that they've done in being a two-time Joe Moore Award winner. I know the award's only been around since 2015, but they will forever be the back-to-back winners the first time ever. Olu Oluwatimi, of course, proved to be one of the great transfer portal additions across college football as an All-American. Ryan Hayes as well moves on to the NFL. So they bring in the two Stanford players, the center, Drake Nugent, and also the tackle. They also have, of course, an offensive lineman coming in, Ladarius Jefferson from Arizona State. So the Pac-12 serving Michigan football in this offseason. Your thoughts about Michigan being able to maintain that type of standard up front?
I absolutely think they will. And I know that sounds really homer, like that, how do you think they're going to be good? Yes, I do. But when you look at the starting talent that they return, just from the guys that were on the team previously, like you look and you say, well, they lost, Oluwatimi and they lost Hayes, and those are big losses. Well, they returned two guys who could have gone to the NFL this last year. NIL was a big part in bringing them back, and that's Trevor Keegan and Zach Zinter. Those are guys that very well could be day one or day two type picks after this year. They're especially Zinter. He's really just brutal out on the field. And then you've got two right tackles that have both started in Carson Barnhart and Trente Jones. They're going to be battling it out for that right tackle position, I would imagine. But Carson Barnhart has started multiple times over the course of his career at either of the tackle spots. And then Trente Jones beats him out to begin the year, gets injured in week 6 at Indiana, and Carson Barnhart comes in. And once he was so good that when Trente came back, they were like, you know what, let's just not even mess with it. So they've got two guys at right tackle who have starting experience, high level at that. And then you've got a guy like Gio El-Hadi who replaced Trevor Keegan when Keegan was injured early in the season for multiple games. So you've already got 5 guys right there that have starting experience. And you add Jeff Percy, who started the Rutgers game at left tackle when Ryan Hayes was injured. I mean, that's pretty incredible to have that type of depth and experience. And they've got other guys that they really like that might still not see the field yet because they brought those transfers in. Ladarius Henderson, certainly, he was another guy that I got to see at that NIL event in late June, and he looks like an NFL left tackle as far as his stature. Was an absolute bruiser and mauler playing guard at Arizona State. So it'll be interesting to see how quickly he's able to adapt. He was on campus doing his online classes for Arizona State, but not able to participate in spring ball, but able to witness it. So that'll be interesting to see how quickly he's able to acclimate. But then you look at Drake Nugent, a guy that Max Chadwick from PFF, he came onto my podcast and said, listen, this guy's the best center in the country. We actually had him graded higher than Olu last year, the Remington Award winner. So he's like, I think that he's like, take this bet right now. He's like, I'll go ahead and say that Drake Nugent is going to win the Remington Trophy this year. So if Michigan can get a Remington Trophy award-winning performance out of Drake Nugent, you've got all these other guys. I'm not even talking about Miles Hinton, the former 5-star who transferred over from Stanford. He'll have to fight for whatever spot he gets, whether it's guard or tackle. Just kind of given all of that experience I just laid out. I don't see how they don't win a 3rd straight Joe Moore Award unless they're just like, listen, we can't give it to Michigan every year. But they've got all those guys. And then I'm not even talking about Raheem Anderson, who was the heir apparent at center, who's had a really impressive spring as well as summer conditioning. They think very highly of him. He's been in a battle with Greg Crippen. You've got these other guys who are kind of ancillary role players who had been thought to be those next guys to step in at guard or center, like Reese Atterbury. He's been kind of oscillating between guard and center throughout his career. He's been thought of as being a starting caliber guy. I mean, the list goes on to the point where I forget because there's just that is such a deep position for Michigan, and it's such a stellar turnaround for Jim Harbaugh and Sharon Moore compared to what it used to be. Because for a while it was like, who's going to step in there? Well, they're going to put someone who's undersized, and it's not going to go well. The offensive line only started becoming a strength, and it wasn't the strength in 2018, 3 years after Jim Harbaugh arrived in his fourth year. But it never became this good, obviously, until 2021. So it'll be interesting to see how they make all of these pieces kind of work. How do they keep everybody happy? Because that is a ton of talent. They probably have – you could probably go to their whole second offensive line and have very little drop-off. They very well still could be the best in the Big Ten, just kind of with their second group. That's a pretty incredible feat that they've built.